In 1925, a man sold the Eiffel Tower for scrap metal. The buyer paid him in cash, and 6 months later, the same man tried to sell it again. Here's the part that should terrify you. The buyer wasn't an idiot. He was a successful French businessman who spoke the language, lived in the city, and knew exactly what the Eiffel Tower looked like. He fell for it anyway. And so would you, because every great scam in history, from fake princesses to diamond fields that didn't exist, uses the same 3 tricks. And once you see them, you can't unsee them. Victor Lustig. Victor Lustig was a 35-year-old con man from the Czech Republic. He wasn't rich. He wasn't French. He wasn't even particularly charming. But he understood one thing better than anyone alive. If you look like you belong, people stop asking questions. In the summer of 1925, Paris was arguing about the Eiffel Tower. It was rusting. Maintenance was expensive. Some officials quietly wondered if it was worth keeping. Lustig read that and thought, what if the government was actually selling it? Not really, of course. But what if he said they were? He rented a typewriter, forged government letterhead, hired a translator to make sure the French was perfect. Then he mailed letters to 6 of the biggest scrap metal dealers in France. The letter said the tower was being quietly auctioned for demolition. All meetings in private hotel suites. 5 dealers threw it in the trash. One showed up. His name was André Poisson. Young, ambitious, desperate to prove himself to the old guard of Paris. Lustig didn't pitch him. He warned him. He leaned across the table and said, Monsieur, this is highly sensitive. The public would riot. The government needs absolute discretion. Then he acted bored, checked his watch, sighed, said there were 4 other serious bidders and this was just a formality. Poisson didn't see a salesman. He saw a government official who didn't care if he got the deal. And when someone acts like they don't need your money, your brain assumes the product is real. Poisson paid a 250,000 franc bribe just to secure the winning bid. Lustig took the money, boarded a train to Vienna, and disappeared. When Poisson realized he'd been tricked, he was too ashamed to tell anyone, which is exactly why, 6 months later, Lustig went back to Paris and tried the exact same scam on a different dealer. The authority trigger works because humans are wired to obey symbols of power. The letterhead, the suit, the bored bureaucrat attitude. Lustig didn't convince Poisson the tower was for sale. He convinced him that questioning the sale would make him look stupid, and nobody wants to look stupid in front of an important person. The Great Diamond Hoax. In 1872, 2 Kentucky prospectors walked into a San Francisco bank and dropped a bag on the counter. It was full of diamonds. They said they'd found a massive diamond field in remote Wyoming. They weren't selling the location. They just needed investors to help them claim it before someone else did. The bank president didn't send a geologist. He grabbed his coat and followed them. Here's what made this scam genius. Arnold and Slack didn't let the investors see the field immediately. They made them travel for days through brutal wilderness. By the time they arrived, the investors were exhausted, hungry, and desperate for the trip to mean something. Then the prospectors let the investors discover the gems themselves. Rubies, sapphires, diamonds just sitting on the surface. The investors started digging with their bare hands. What the investors didn't know, Arnold and Slack had bought those gems in San Francisco and planted them the night before. They'd salted the entire mesa. But the real trick wasn't the fake gems. It was the clock. They told the investors the land was unclaimed and could be stolen any day. That other prospectors were getting close. That they needed to invest now, before the secret got out. A U.S. senator put money in. A bank president put money in. They formed a mining company on the spot. When a geologist finally visited months later, he found the truth in about 20 minutes. The gems were scattered like someone had dropped them from a pocket. There was no diamond field. There never had been, but by then, Arnold and Slack had cashed out and vanished. Urgency doesn't just make you decide faster. It makes you decide worse. When you think you're about to miss out, The part of your brain that checks facts goes completely offline. The investors weren't stupid. They were just afraid someone else would get rich first. The fake princess. In 1920, a young woman was pulled from a canal in Berlin. She had no ID. She refused to explain who she was. And when doctors examined her, they found something strange. She seemed to genuinely believe she was royalty. Specifically, she claimed to be Grand Duchess Anastasia Nikolaevna of Russia, the youngest daughter of the Tsar, the only Romanov who, she said, had survived the execution. Her name was Anna Anderson, and she was actually a Polish factory worker named Franziska Shanskowska. But here's the thing, for 60 years, nobody could prove it. The Romanov relatives were torn. Some met her and swore she was genuine. Others were certain she was a fraud. The public couldn't get enough. Newspapers followed her for decades. Why did it work for so long? Because people didn't see Anna Anderson. They saw what they wanted to see. The surviving Romanovs wanted to believe their family wasn't completely wiped out. The public wanted a fairy tale. And the men who funded her legal battles wanted the prestige of being connected to royalty. Anna didn't have to be a good actress. She just had to be a mirror. She reflected back whatever hope or ambition the viewer already had. Greed isn't always about money. Sometimes it's the greed for a story to be true, for a secret to be real, for you to be the one person smart enough to see what everyone else missed. The DNA test that finally exposed her came in 1994, 14 years after her death. By then, she'd lived an entire life as a princess. She'd married a wealthy American. She'd been interviewed by every major magazine on Earth, all because she understood that the easiest person to fool is someone who desperately wants to believe. The modern trap. Every phishing email you've ever received uses the exact same 3 moves. We're your bank. That's authority. Your account will be suspended in 24 hours. That's urgency. Click here to claim your unexpected refund. That's greed. The Eiffel Tower scam isn't history. It's a template. Victor Lustig needed a forged letterhead and a hotel suite. Today's scammers just need your inbox. But the psychology hasn't changed in 100 years. So how do you defend yourself? You don't need to become paranoid. You just need to recognize the feeling. When someone important tells you something that would be stupid to question, that's authority. When they give you a deadline that makes your chest tight, that's urgency. And when the deal feels like you're getting away with something, that's greed. If you feel all 3 at once, run. Victor Lustig died in Alcatraz. Anna Anderson died still claiming she was a princess. The diamond hoax prospectors were never fully caught. And André Poisson? He was just a guy who thought he was too smart to be fooled. So if you've ever clicked a suspicious link or almost sent money to the wrong place, or felt your stomach drop when you realized something was wrong, don't beat yourself up. The easiest person in the world to fool is someone who believes they're too smart. What's the most unbelievable scam you've ever heard of? Drop it in the comments. I'm making a part 2, and I might feature your story. Hit subscribe if you want more videos like this. One story, one lesson, no filler. I'll see you in the next one.